Hello everyone, how are you doing? My name is Ryan Kelly and I'm going to be hosting another episode of Know Your Bosses. Know Your Bosses, if you're not aware, is a show where I'll review some of the most classic bosses to the lesser known ones. I'll rank them based on their difficulty, creativity, appearance, and fighting style. In the end, the boss will get a ranking from 1, avoid the fight, to 10, pursue the fight. So now that I've quickly gone over the rules, we can talk about the boss we'll be fighting today. Today I'm going to be discussing
location. Cookatiel is a boss like all the other bosses in Super Mario Odyssey. It's a part of the main story, so finding where it is actually pretty easy. But for the sake of the location section, I'll talk about where you can find it and how to get there. Cookatiel is located in the Luncheon Kingdom on top of Mount Volbano. In order to get to the top of Mount Volbano, you'll need to have collected the first multi-moon at Mount Volbano, which you can do by fighting this piece of meat and possessing it, and then let Cookatiel take you to the multi-moon. Once you've collected that multi-moon, the volcano will erupt and kick you off of Mount Volbano. After that, you'll have access to the proper path to get to the top of Mount Volbano. Once you get to the top of Mount Volbano, the fight with Cookatiel will begin. Now I also want to talk about where the rematch with Cookatiel is. You can find the rematch in the Mushroom Kingdom by the lake where Dory's located at. Once you're at the lake, head towards the tower where the Volbanians are. Once inside, you'll find Cookatiel's portrait that you're able to hop into Super Mario 64 style and begin the fight. Boss information. Cookatiel is the 10th boss that you encounter in Super Mario Odyssey. It has more information about it than some of the other bosses at this point in time. The name of this boss has an interesting meaning in English, Spanish, French, Italian, and Japanese. The English version of the boss's name, Cookatiel, is a Fu Manchu of the word cook and cockatiel. The name having cook because it fits in with the theme of the Luncheon Kingdom, and cockatiel because it's a bird. Its name in Spanish is Chefarico. The name is a mix of the word chef and pajarico, meaning ugly or big bird. Its name in French is toque toque. In French, toque is a brimless hat that usually refers to a chef's hat. Its name in Italian is gormello. The name could possibly be a mix of the two words being gourmet and uccello, meaning bird in English. And finally, its name in Japanese is Kokocho. The name in Japanese is actually a pun on a word in Japanese that I can't pronounce because there's no English version of saying it, which is pronounced and means head chef. The Mario Wiki says that this word is supposed to mean head chef, but when I Google translated the word, I found that it meant something that is pretty inappropriate. I'm not going to say what the word means here, but if you want to find out, then I'll put a link to the definition of the word in the description below. Also, you might have noticed that Cookatiel looks very similar to a certain villain from Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. If you don't know who I'm talking about, then I'm referring to Wingo, the main villain from the game. Although they're not exactly the same, you do have to admit their appearances are pretty similar. Strategy. The fight with Cookatiel is pretty basic, just like most Mario bosses are. So I wouldn't really recommend that you bring anything with you before the fight, mainly because you can't. I guess if you want to be safe, then you can get a life up heart, but I really don't think it's necessary for this fight. The fight itself is pretty easy too. The only attack that Cookatiel has is that it'll shoot spiky fruit out of its mouth, but since the area is so huge, the attack is really easy to avoid. However, if you do get hit and you need some help, then you can find some hearts inside random food in the pot by running into it. After avoiding Cookatiel's spiky fruit, then it'll start to gush out a pink lava path that you have to transverse in order to hit Cookatiel. It'll also try to hit you with various types of fruit as you're climbing up the path. Once you make it to the end of the path, then you can jump onto its head in order to damage it. Now each phase has a different path to get to Cookatiel's head. The first phase path is a straight line, the second phase path is a zigzag, and the final phase comes out in small bursts. The final phase path is by far the hardest one to navigate because the depth perspective for this path is really confusing. What I'll recommend doing is to move your camera around a little bit to get a little bit of a better perspective. So once you hit Cookatiel in the head 3 times, then it will die. Now the only difference between the original fight with Cookatiel and the rematch with it is that in the rematch there are 3 spike bar obstacles that'll spin the lava. The spike bars are really easy to avoid though. All you have to do is be constantly moving and you won't run into one.
Rewards.
Beating Cookatiel both times will result in you getting a multi-moon, but when you beat it for the first time in the Luncheon Kingdom, you'll be able to have access to Bowser's Kingdom. But really, you'll go to the Dark Souls Kingdom, I mean the Ruined Kingdom.
Final thoughts.
In this section of the video, I'll be talking about how the gameplay, design, difficulty, fun factor, and creativity weigh in on my opinion on whether I think a boss is good or not. Anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's start this section. The fight with Cookatiel is definitely the easiest one out of all the Kingdom exclusive bosses, and the least creative one out of all the bosses in the game. Now I find this boss to be enjoyable, but when you're competing with bosses like the Mecha Wiggler and the Lord of Lightning, you really don't stand a chance, because those bosses have such unique fights with new concepts and new unused designs. Now one minor thing that I want to bring up is that the rematch with Cookatiel is barely different from the original fight. Let's look at the Lord of Lightning's rematch for a comparison. This boss fight goes for the same approach that Cookatiel's does when it comes to adding difficulty to the rematch. But with the rematch with Dark Eden Radier, I mean the Lord of Lightning, the platform becomes icy. Now this might sound lazy at first, but it isn't because you have to approach this fight with more caution than you would have in the first one, because now you can slide all over the place, and you have to dodge its attacks differently than you would have in the first fight. This is not the case with Cookatiel. The only thing that's different with its fight is now you have to move around a little bit more and jump a little more, which is something that you already have to do in this fight. Okay, it might sound like I hate this boss, but I don't. I find the fight to be pretty fun for what it is, and it does have a pretty good appearance, even if it is similar to another boss's appearance. It's just so disappointing to see a boss like this, when there's all these other bosses that are so different from anything we've ever seen in a Mario game. Cookatiel to me is the only boss that I don't feel like stands out in this beautiful game. It especially disappoints me that Cookatiel is found in one of the most creative kingdoms in the game. They could have made all sorts of super clever food-themed bosses, but they instead went for a simple bird that just looks like a recycled version of Wingo. So, with all that in mind, my final score for Cookatiel is a 3 out of 10. So, what do you think about this boss? Do you think this boss deserves a higher or lower ranking? Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed the video or not. Also, make sure to click the like button if you liked the video and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ryan Kelly, and I'll see you in the next episode of Know Your Bosses.